Okay, so first question is obviously the show started at Comedy Central. There was the QB move. Now you're on Roku. So I was wondering, just kind of a general question to start about, the changes that you guys have had to go through, if that interfered with the momentum and sort of like keeping the ideas fresh, and how did you kind of make that so that it didn't interfere?
We also started on Fox before Comedy Central 3 years earlier. We were a Fox pilot, and they so we go back.
So you really moved around.
So if anything,
all started in the year 2000 on Fox, but it never aired there. It moved over to Comedy Central, then it moved to Quibi, then now it's Roku Originals. And really, I would say the show, the tone, nothing has changed, even when it became shorter episodes, because the show by nature is almost like a sketch show in the sense that it's these smaller bites, and you're following the storyline of people, but you can pop in and out at any time.
I would actually say, I think pound for pound, if you look at really old Renos, definitely have some filler. I think
last night I watched the first season. Last night I binged the first season.
I'm still proud of it, but it definitely has a little bit of parts and filler and like parts that make the hot dog. I think have gotten better at doing the show.
Yeah.
It's certainly maybe more fun to do. Maybe because all the actors, everybody's like really grown as improv people. Yeah. But also you're watching characters who have now, everyone's been playing those characters basically off and on for 20 years. So it's like, I feel like in some ways we're getting a little better at it, I think, maybe. Yeah.
People know each other as well. People know their own character and each other's character so well that there's such a chemistry there that doesn't come from a writer's room. It really does come from the cast, which is great. And we've been really lucky we've been given more and more freedom as the years go on. So now, like for Quibi, we didn't get any notes at any point. So, and same with Roku. Yeah. So it's been great. They just kind of let us do our own evil, to ourselves.
We almost got a retroactive note about one of the Quibi episodes, but we actively wouldn't do it. So it didn't matter.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, that goes to another question that I wanted to ask each of you in terms of your characters, Jim, Trudy, Travis, how, looking at the characters now with the new season from that first season, how, if you could each kind of tell me what you've observed, how your characters have grown or changed or evolved or not.
Not at all.
I think there's like some sort of, I see our show like comedy comfort food in the sense that, I don't know, I can only speak
we're like the Simpsons.
We're the Flintstones. We're the
kind of the Simpsons characters where it's like, just check back in, they're the same.
The same, we've got the same outfit on, Snoopy is still, Lucy's still pulling the football. It's like, there's
there's many
not a lot of growth, but that's by design.
There's many times people in the show, I'm positive, don't remember what all of their backstories are.
Oh, 100%. I'm one of them.
Dangle got married. Dangle had a son. Dangle and Trudy hooked up in the movie. I mean, there's hundreds of storylines.
Oh, sometimes we sit in the morning briefing scenes and I turn to people. I'm like, wait, aren't we cousins? Didn't we?
We're like, oh, that's right. We are cousins. We did say that once 9 years ago.
I accidentally, Nick Swartzen's character had two last names. He was Terry Bernardino and he was Terry Jaspermans, and we never corrected it. For some reason, in the second episode where we're looking for Ken Marino's dog, I said that my character was 51.
Right.
And that was like 18 years ago.
It was a long time ago.
So that was a bad idea. Yeah.
Do the fans, I mean, because you have fans that are so, passionate about the show. Do they call you out on those discrepancies, or do they love those discrepancies?
I think they have fun with it. I see on social media sometimes they'll make a comment, but it's not, we're clearly not to be taken too seriously on any level. So I don't think anybody, there is a wiki, not Wikipedia, but a wiki.
There's a Wikipedia. Our fictional characters' Wikipedias are almost as long as our real Wikipedias.
Yes. I did check in on mine before we shot the last season, just to be sure that I do.
It's like, it's a rare show that people love and they really don't care. We brought 3 people back from the dead without mentioning it.
Ever.
Nobody cares. Which is just great.
I really think
that thing that should kill Wile E. Coyote but does not every time. You're just like, oh, he'd obviously be dead.
Yeah,
I think
nobody
part of
cares.
it that the show is not, dialogue is not written. So as an actor, when you're sitting and memorizing dialogue, even dialogue that you've written, you are, going over it and over it and over it. The information is getting in because it's improv and we're putting out these very basic premises and then all the characters are improvising on them. Once you say it, you forget it ever happened. So it's, I'm sort of telling you how the sausage is made. It's not as, maybe I shouldn't be because it's not as impressive as you may think.
No, it's very impressive. The fact that what comes off the top, the fact that it is improvised and some of the things you guys come up with, it's very impressive. It's like, where did that come from? And speaking of the new season, the thematic sort of, the theme of the new season is defunded. So how did you guys come up with that and think that that would be something that would, give you more to work with storyline wise?
We knew going into the last couple runs of Reno 911 that almost every other cop show had been canceled in some way. In fact, when we started doing the new ones was right when Cops itself, which we were always spoofing, the actual Cops got canceled. So we sort of knew that if we do not exist in the world as it exists, we will look insane. Like, we'll look like crazy people. Like, we have to acknowledge that the people's relationship to law enforcement is pretty different probably than when we started the show.
Yes.
And I think that's been the interesting thing is that since we never really glorified what we were doing, we were always on drugs and incompetent and committing minor and major crimes and doing all kinds of weird stuff that, it was, since we never really glorified it, we had sort of less to, I think, apologize for in some way. But we also, I think all the new stuff that's coming out really, nicely represents. It was also just like a great place to start writing from for outlines and stuff. Like, what happens if we didn't have any money left?
Yeah. And then in terms of like what's going on in the world, obviously that's what the reference is, the defund the police. It doesn't seem like you guys have ever really, had any honestly, line that you cross. I mean, do you still have that same, like, maybe you do have lines that you won't cross, but it just seems like the skewering is kind of like everybody gets skewered. So you can kind of go there. But with this new season and obviously referencing defunding, were there any trepidation on what you might be skewering or satirizing?
Right.
I think that you could. I think you could tell that the show doesn't have a mean bone in its body. Yeah. And I think you can tell. So no matter what we're talking about, and we make fun of, I think, everybody on the political spectrum. And I think that you could tell no matter who we're poking fun at, it's never ever mean. It's always, everyone's equally stupid and hapless. And I think that because we've never been heroes, we're allowed to sort of joke about things that nobody else is joking about. Not that they can't, but they don't.
Yeah.
I've always seen us as equal opportunity offenders. And for me, there's no one more fun to make fun of than like at this point in my life, the middle-aged white woman, sort of like, it's like I will make fun of myself first before, anybody else. But in this show, we've always sort of made fun of everyone across the board. And so, like Ben said, I don't think anyone, I think that's why people see themselves in this show and they say like, oh, this reminds, we've had more than anything, cops come up to us and say, oh my God, we've got a guy on the force that's a Jim, we've got we've got a Trudy, so if anyone's going to be offended from the get, it would be those guys, but and women. But I think it comes from a good place. It comes from a good place.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's never been mean-spirited. And a weird thing about us is the show's never been like very political at all, and really in any way. Like, it's always just about some dumb shit usually. But I mean, it has been a gift to have like the idea of Karens being a big idea has come up a lot in the season.
Such a gift. But we also knew this season, I think more than any other, that we couldn't shy away from anything And we did it. It's not that we just go in and we don't think. We think a lot, and we do a lot of discussions. And I'm often the one to go, hey, this may be a line. Let's talk about this. Is this a line we're willing to cross? Are we saying something to this line? So it's not just that we're throwing shit at the wall and we're going, screw everybody. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Some of it is very thoughtful and some of it is just for the sake of silly. But this season in particular, I think we felt like we can't not talk about A, B, and C. The only thing we said, let's not talk about was COVID. And we said, because that kind of, in a sense, dates us. And also, then it doesn't become an escape. Yes, let's talk about civil unrest. Yes, let's talk about defunding. Yes, let's talk about police brutality. All of these things, it's important. But as far as COVID went, it's like we were kind of like, we need one little like breath of
COVID and Trump. We made decisions.
Correct.
Instead of Trump, we had Ted Nugent. We made Ted Nugent be our Trump. And so we would never say the word Trump, no red hats, none of that stuff.
Okay.
And what's weird is like when we started the show, almost 20 years ago, if you had told us that just having a cop show would be a political choice in 20 years, we would have said you were crazy. But like now it just became, between season 7 and 8, even doing a police show was like a hot button.
We talked about it, and we talked about should we even do it, and
yes.
we had some good talks.
Well, I gotta say, it still feels, even me watching season 1 last night, it still felt really fresh to me and like just great. I can't wait to revisit everything because it's been so long, So I have one question left, and I'll just ask you, since you mentioned the Ted Nugent, Weird Al playing Ted Nugent, that was brilliant. The Jamie Lee episode, that's just so good. So if one of you wants to just tell me what it's been like getting these guests and bringing them into your world.
Well, Jamie came to us, it's after, when you're on for a while, like she reached out and said, when do I come play? Can I come play? And so that's the beauty of this show. It's like, of course, people like that we never dreamed, if we reached out, would they even take our call? So, and then she was just as amazing as you would hope. Al's been on the show for years, playing Ted Nugent. He's a friend. Joe Lopez has been on for years. So, we've been very lucky with guest stars and people wanting to come back and play.
Well, it really feels like play. It feels so, and you're right, it is a great escape. So congrats to all of you on another great season and many more.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
so much.
It should be said that to watch this season, it is completely free. It's on Roku, so you can watch it online, or if it's on TV, you can watch it. You don't need a Roku.
You don't need that box.
About that.
You don't need the box. The box is amazing if you want one. But you also don't need it at all. You can watch Roku anytime for free.
Oh, well, that's great. I'll make sure to mention that. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks so much.
You too.